After identifiers, next let's move toward the reserved words. If you remember, I told you you cannot use reserved word as a identifiers in Python. So let's explore these reserved words. In Python, these reserved words are just to represent something meaningful or meaningful functionality so that you can remember these words for your entire application, and it will be a benefits. Just by remembering those words you can easily write your program. So those words are listed under this keyword module. So in Python there are 35 reserved words available so that you can make use of them very easily. So let's move to the example. This time, instead of using this Python terminal, let's use the ideally terminal this time. So this ideally shell is actually helpful so that it will give you a syntax highlighting in different colors so that it will be readable for beginners. So right now I'm using a Python shell using ideally. So let's start by importing, or simply say import keyword. So we have imported the keyword module and simply say keyword dot kw list. This will list all available reserved words in Python. So if you count these are the 35. So right now in version 35, and when I am explaining you, the 35 keywords are reserved. Might be some of them you may get already familiar. For example, this if I told you we cannot use, even the pass. If you see, if I use this pass here as a variable, as just to represent hello, we cannot use it, right? So remember, we cannot use this reserved word in identifier. And if you want to check the list, this is the example. Now let's see next topic. After this reserved word, let's say the syntax and the file. So on this shell you can quickly type your simple statement and get your work done. But you can also create a file saving with the extension .py, and you have a simple syntax to execute those files. Simply use Python or Python 3 word and the file name .py for its execution. Whether it is a Windows, Mac, Linux or any operating system, you can compile and run your program like this. So let's go for its example. Here you can simply use different variables. Suppose variable 1 equals to hello, and you can quickly done your job on this shell, or simply say a is equals to 10 and b is equals to 20 and result is equals to a plus b, and simply say result. So this is how quickly I can test my simple statement on this shell. But let's see, if I want to execute multiple statement in a single file, I can go to this file and new file, so that it will open a new window where I can type my program. So a is equals to 10, b is equals to 20, and simply say total equals to a plus b, and simply use this print total. So this time I'm using print so that it will print the total. Even if you don't understand what is meant by all these statement, don't worry about this. We will definitely cover one by one. Now save this program. So I saved this program on this path as a my first program.py. From this window, you can simply say run the module, or you can press F5. It will give you the result, whatever is the result there. If you switch to your window again and say print any text, let's say end of program, Save this and run using F5. See 30 and end of program. So this is how you can even create a file. Let's say if you are on a terminal or on Windows prompt, how you can execute. So let's switch to our terminal first, and if you check here, this is my path: home Prashant phdd, then test, and my first program.py. So let's switch to that path. So I'm already in my home directory. I'm using Linux here, then this directory phdd, then test directory. So that program is here. So I will simply say python 3 and my first program.py. So similar result will be there what we get with this ideally shell. So you can prefer any way, which one is allowed for your operating system, the best way, quick way, and simply execute your program. After this syntax and the file creation and its execution, let's move towards the comments. So comments are just a statements which are not executable during your Python program or code execution. So comments are just used to represent what kind of statements we are writing, or it is just a explanatory sentence. So Python has commenting capability with two different types, so that the code included in or after the comments, those are not executable. So remember this. The first way is the hash symbol. So after this hash symbol, whatever we write is not going to execute. And if you want to create a multi-line comments or a large text, then a triple quotes are used. And whatever we write in these triple quotes, starting triple quotes and ending triple quote, those lines are a comment lines. So let's see the example. So here, let's say in our program, we will try this comment. So let's explain this example one by one. So I want to include a single line comment. These are variables. This is my comment. Then I am doing addition. So these are a single line comment. If you run this program, see, there is no effect because these are just a explanatory sentences which are not going to execute. And if you want to include a multi-line comment, like let's say this is our best program. So this is my multi-line comment. How I can see? See, author of this program is like my name. Okay, then let's say the location is India, and then let's say date 2021. So these are the multi-line comments and these are the single line comments. If you run this, save this program, definitely these lines are not going to execute. This is called single line and multi-line comment. After these comments, let's move to important topic in Python, Python indentation. So this is very important topic that you should remember. So indentation refers to the number of spaces at the beginning of any line or single line of code. So these indentation are very important in Python because they are not just for the representation purpose, but it increases readability definitely, but it has a special meaning also. Means it represent a block or block of statement. So for example, let's consider this if statement. Don't worry about this code. We will definitely going into the details of all these if conditions. But right now, just for example, the correct indentation and bad indentation in Python. If A is greater than B, and let's close or create a block using a multi-line space, multiple spaces. So if you observe carefully, there are some space given in front of this print statement. So this is called indentation, and it should be uniform for entire block. And if you see the red one symbol in the syntax, there is no indentation, and Python is going to give you an error. So let's see it with example. So in this program, or instead of this program, let's see, go to the shell. So on this shell, I can try here simple if statement. If a is greater than, or instead of even a, we can say 10 is greater than 5 colon c. This automatically recognizes that we have a block where we can write multiple statement inside this if statement. So simply say print what? Yes, definitely 10 is greater. Simply say yes and print. So this is the output. And if we write similar statement in our program, let's say here, remove all these lines and say if a is greater than b, see again this ideally file editor detected that we need a block. So here in this block, let's say print yes, we can include as many as number of lines here in this block, and the indentation is uniform. So let's see and run this program. So there is no output because a is not greater than b. Let's say increase it with 100. See if condition is working properly. But now let's create one bad indentation block. If let's say if it a is greater than b, but this time I'm removing this indentation intentionally, and see the error. Expected an indent block, right? So remember. So in future we will going to learn all these things always, and perfectly indentation should be there. Remember this indentation.